We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Hell yes, I get to ride the dragon.
What the hell's wrong with you people?
I know Kung Fu.
Tank, you want to switch? You want to switch?
No, I'm good. I got it.
Stay down. I could do this all day.
If you had to transform into one mythical creature and then get married to a different mythical creature.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Maximum effort. How about a magic trick?
HR.
Not an animal.
HR. Is HR.
Somebody call HR down here.
That man is playing Galaga.
Welcome to the Nerds from Work, your weekly escape into the world of geeks, nerds, and possibly the greatest debate we're going to have of 2019, which could easily be one of our last shows of 2019. So,
Good point.
hey, as always, I'm Jason Miller, and with me, I've got Josh Tankersley.
What up?
Naruik Bajay.
Hey.
Brandon Miller.
Hello.
And joining us from one of our other sister channels, little sister channel, the Blazing Defender Report. Travis Jones, what's up, dude?
What up?
All right, guys. So, Tank, what have you been up to, buddy?
Yeah, man. So I've been busy.
Naru, what have you been up to, buddy?
You suck. No,
I just want to say the Blazing Defender Report is a little sister in the same way Iron Man is a small star in the MCU.
like it makes us feel better to belittle him. Okay.
Wait,
Oh man.
stop.
Nice comparison there.
Hammer
I like
time.
that.
But I'm thirsty.
Oh, guess what I forgot to get? A drink. That's just perfect. That's this couldn't get any better. It's just-
What have you been up to,
man.
Tank?
So so I'm sure Jason could probably talk about it a little bit too. But us and some of our buddies went to a WWE event the other night.
Really?
We were the third row from the ring, like on the floor. It was it was pretty dope. Like I'm not a wrestling fan by any stretch of the imagination, but
Really?
it was fucking cool. Yeah, I've just never kept up with it. And so, it was.
Well, when you fight for real, right?
Oh,
and then you watch
please.
fake fighting.
Shut up, snob.
like-
No, see, but even before that though, I always associated wrestling with being fake. It's only until
Yeah.
recently that I realized only the writing is fake. Everything else, they are actually throwing each other across this ring.
Thank you.
Well,
I mean,
to a
obviously
certain
not
extent.
kicking. Yeah, I mean they're not
Like,
kicking each other in the face, but
Yeah, the punches and kicks are not it's all
is-
scripted.
Sure, kind of, but
Scripted pulled punches, we know. But go
Yeah.
try doing that for 20 minutes.
yeah.
Well,
It's,
Gordy was sorry. I wasn't supposed to give his name out. Our
That's
buddy
okay.
that did it was telling me as we were watching it. But you gain a respect, I think is
Yeah.
what Tank's trying to say,
Yeah.
is for like
It-
guys Travis's size doing double backflips.
Yeah, like
Like,
off the
I
top
can't even
rope,
do it.
landing on another
A
dude
front
without
row.
hurting him. Like, it's,
Thank you.
And so I have a more of an appreciation now as a little bit later. But being at the, that's not to say I'm gonna start watching it every Sunday, but
Monday.
being there was fucking cool. Like it was super dope.
Yeah, we loved going to the shows in Massachusetts. I think I talked about it on the show multiple times.
Yeah.
Like going to the ones in Mass. Like
Yeah.
they were so sick, but they weren't like pro. They were like the group trying
I would
like,
go to a
make it to the
WWE
pros.
show anytime. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I
like
can
the
get
pros
that.
from WWE would like come down and like come to the shows, and they would be like the main attraction.
Oh,
that
yeah.
they like wrestle with all the guys. It was sick.
Listen,
I
we
love
grew
that
up
stuff.
with that shit. Like one of my favorite cousins, God rest him, he passed some years back. He would like the day Undertaker launched, he drove from one city to the next. Dude, have you seen the latest news? I'm like, who? And then we all sit down and watch the Undertaker's entrance. I'm like, holy shit, what is this? This is unreal. This is at the time of you got like Ultimate Warrior and that whole wild energy, and this Stone Cold, this dude just shows up and just changes the game. Yes, that kind of stuff. Absolutely, yes. I go see that over any football game any day of the week,
Yeah.
and twice on Sunday.
So in our family, like I watched wrestling when I was a kid. Like I feel like as a boy, you should watch wrestling for like at least a couple years of your life.
See, I never
Just so you're like, hey, this is cool. Like, I love to fight things, right? But in our family, once the UFC became a thing, my dad was like, yeah, all that's fake. This is real.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, cool. So then from Hulk Hogan to like Tito Ortiz was my transition.
Nice.
Now, you know, I'm an adult and I know that it's all fake. I've got behind the scenes.
Still.
But I do appreciate the art
Yeah.
of watching like massive people, like, and the way that they were lining it up. It's like he's in this little spot on this big ring, and that guy does a backflip and lands on top of him
without hurting him.
And it's like,
that's
impressive.
I just want to say,
like, it's the same as like appreciating any like action like actor. They do the same shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, John Wick is tight because he fought that dude and did this. It's like, okay, yeah, he's acting, fighting.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I just want to say this.
Except it's live.
I swear to God, I think I understand your dad a little bit more now, because yesterday something happened. My son was like, this is boring, change. I kept flipping through channels. And then I landed on wrestling. And you could see the testosterone kick in. Like, boom. He went from to, no, go back. And I'm what? And he goes, yes, this.
Next
and he
thing you
sits
know,
there
he has a dog
watch.
in a headlock.
Listen, for real, like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, if I ever have to explain to my wife why my son suplexed his sister, at least this moment would have been worth it.
That's one of those dad moments where you're like,
Right?
yeah, I had to go to his school because my son suplexed the school bully. Like, I'm
There you
okay
go.
with that.
Yeah.
I mean, my son almost killed a rabbit already, so whatever. Like, yeah.
That's a different kind of show. I think that's the first 48. I don't think that's wrestling. That's a different show.
How they began this serial killer edition. Like,
Yeah.
Oh God.
Let's keep him on wrestling and away from animals. How
Yeah.
about
I know
that?
how to keep. Look, I know how to keep my son from being a serial killer. Just give him 2 names, no middle name. As simple as that. That works. It's that simple.
Just be around.
Yeah.
All
That
the serial
too.
killers, they're always alone in their parents' basement. Just
Yeah,
be
right.
around.
Yeah.
That's it. Have no basement.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Problem
No
solved.
basement, nowhere to hide the body. Makes it
Right?
hard.
Hey, if you're listening to
Right.
the Nerds from Work, take that piece of advice. We just eliminated all serial killers for the rest of forever.
Done.
Be
Who
around.
knows how many lives
Don't
we
have
just
a
saved?
basement. Keep them away from animals. Don't give them a middle name. No more serial killers. We just solved the problem.
Problem solved.
Don't be white.
Don't.
If you can keep from being white, you've almost got it 99% licked. I think.
White dad problems. They always have some kind of weird middle name. Right? Like, they like to play in the woods more than they like playing with other kids. Your son is any of those or daughter. I mean, it's 2020 almost. You might have a serial killer on your hands.
It's a very strong possibility.
It's very true. It's very strong. So, what else did you do, Tank?
So my wife got me an early Christmas present for Black Friday. So I got an iPad and a pencil, and the iPad, like the iPencil, whatever. And so I've been,
Really?
So I've been, I've
Doodling.
been doing that like every chance I get. Which
Hey,
I'm
doing what? This?
Yeah, exactly.
Jerking off? Seriously? Oh, just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. The iPad gives me a nice big screen for my porn.
All over the
so
iPad.
No. iPad's to the side. That way I don't get it messy. Porn, and then I can come. I'm over here.
Right.
Got it.
Guys, don't touch his iPad. That's all
Now,
I'm
do you
saying.
do the stranger sometimes? Do you switch it up? Like sit on your left hand?
Sit
and
on the
then-
hand for a little while. Yeah.
Switch
Yeah.
hands?
Every once in a while. It's got to be. It's not a stranger if you do it all the time. So.
The stranger if you use Travis's hand.
Ooh.
But yeah, and so that's that, and I'm getting a new job, so that's kind of dope.
What?
Oh yeah, man. I meant to ask you about that personally, but
Yeah.
I was too busy watching 8 women wrestle in one ring.
Dude, that was the best match the whole night.
I was
Congratulations,
in the
man.
bathroom for that one. Like I didn't even see it. I
Yeah.
don't even know. What you're talking about.
I was there. The little blonde one was super hot.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yes, you did.
I
That's
wasn't
fine.
there.
Did you realize that Adam was at the show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
After.
I realized
Yeah.
that the next day too, because he put it. Anyways, but But yeah, so I started a new job in 2 weeks. So I basically for the
Nice.
next 2 weeks just dicking around because I'm not doing anything else at this company.
Awesome.
So he starts a new job in 2 weeks. Oh my God, what's the commute?
Well, I have to leave the house for a starter.
No way.
I
The
know.
quadruple.
Yeah, so it adds 50 minutes. So from the
And-
2 flights of stairs.
That's the end of the Nerds from Work.
Wait, you decided to take a job and start like on Christmas.
And actually, with the new company, I get Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. So I literally will work for like a week and get 2 days off. So.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say just start.
And then you're right back
right.
at it.
So yeah, I planned it right. I didn't go iOS Maverick. Sorry, Maverick's yelling at me that the only reason I went iOS for my drawing was for the Apple Pencil, because I've heard from multiple people, to include my professional tattoo artist, that he actually prefers the iPad Pro and the Pencil 2 over Cintiq and Wacom. So that's the only reason I went iPad.
What do you mean you
We're
went
not going to
iPad?
talk about your tattoo artist anymore, okay?
Shut up.
I'm just curious about. I thought this was a gift.
Well, it's okay. It was a gift, but she tried. She was funny. She wanted to surprise me so bad, but there were so many questions like what size, what year, like do I get Apple Care? And she finally was like, "Look, I can't surprise you with this and get you the wrong get you this wrong
Right?
$350 present." So she's like, "Here, help me make sure I get the right stuff," and then that way we don't have to send it back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So
All right, Rue, what have you been up to?
I have been binge watching as well. Let's see. I finished, went back and finished Cowboy Bebop.
nice.
Nice.
I still haven't
yes.
watched that.
So that's really.
There's a lot of those older anime that I just haven't.
So how are you liking this trek into to animate them?
Some of it's pretty cool, man. Like, obviously, I already said, My Hero Academia is right up there for me.
Yeah. It's just,
Cowboy Bebop it's
Historic.
yeah.
it's like classic. Like you can tell you're watching classic stuff.
It's
Like this is
episode
something
4,
else.
5, and 6.
Have you ever seen Looper?
The movie,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go rewatch it now that you've seen Cowboy Bebop, and tell me that Looper is not Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, okay.
The whole drug from the very first Cowboy Bebop episode is the entire movie of Looper, where they like inject it in their or spray it in their eye and stuff.
Yeah.
The beginning when he starts the movie, he just looks at the camera and goes bang.
But
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all Cowboy Bebop references. It's super fucking tight.
So
I'll
wait
take
a
a look
minute.
and see. Yeah.
Hold on. So what you're telling me is the good movie that Ryan Johnson made, he basically stole it from Cowboy Bebop.
The future that he created was Cowboy Bebop.
The only good movie,
No.
really?
That's really.
Trav,
Have you seen Knives Out yet?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. All right. So let's
I
back
heard it's
up
really
from that.
good.
Yeah. So let's back up from that.
We
I don't
did
think he
something.
stole it. Yeah, I don't think he stole it from Cowboy Bebop. He just has like a ton of references. I think it's more of like he's probably a fan and made
Yeah.
references for people.
I'm
who are-
gonna watch Looper with with an open mind. Let's leave it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
The second thing I
did
did
an
this
episode
week-
where we talked about references, and Cowboy Bebop was one of the most referenced things.
I mean, that's one of those shows you could probably steal entire plot lines out of a single thing that happened in one episode because it's so condensed. Like there's so much stuff in it that's happening that it's really cool. It's really, it was not what I expected at all. Then I also spent I also finally, for the first time in my life, watched the prequels.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all three. Finally.
Wow.
Do you hate
Yes.
him as much as everybody says?
I
you
think
do?
everybody who's been hating on them for a long time probably just it's not dog shit like I was told it was. It's not great all through.
Yeah.
Like you
But
can
they're
see.
definitely better than other movies.
Yeah.
That is-
Yes, episode
That
3
like
was
cool.
far and away better than I ever thought it had a right to be. Like this was really good. Episode 3 was
Yeah.
really good.
It's not.
You know?
horrible. They went way over the top with some of the fight scenes, but like it's not a horrible movie. Like
Yeah.
episode
Over the
3,
top
it's
is
like yeah.
Yeah, I'm seriously looking at episode 3 thinking, there's no way, Samuel L's character, Mace Windu, there's no way he's dead. I mean, he's got to be alive somehow. I mean, these guys are falling from cliffs and stuff. So why the hell is he not alive? Like,
Because he was electrocuted.
He might be alive.
Oh please. I'm with Samuel L. If they want to bring him back, I'm down. It makes sense.
No, he's not. Trust me. It'll tie into like one of the things I did this week. Shit, we'll just get into it. I went and so my wife, I told you guys, she started watching Star Wars, right? Now we're watching The Mandalorian and stuff, and my kids like Star Wars. And we're going to Disney in February to Galaxy's Edge, and the new ride opens up this month. I think it opens up next week. So I've been diving into deep shit on YouTube, which like half of it probably isn't even fucking canon anymore. And I found like the most badass Jedi that I've ever seen ever. He's a sand person.
Better than Yoda?
Like one of the sand people?
Yeah.
Really?
He's one of those, but he was a Jedi. Yeah.
Somebody more badass than Yoda, seriously.
To me, because he
Just want
started
to say,
off as a
by the
sand
way,
person.
I've always wondered why people said Yoda was a badass. They never looked like a badass to me in anything I ever saw. Then I saw the prequels and thought, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, they really tried to make it do.
And can we just say that baby Yodas are super cute?
Baby Yodas, yeah, Yoda got to come explain some shit. Like, what you been doing, Yoda?
So I've been diving like super deep into like, I guess not just Jedi lore, but also like Mandalorian lore and like the Mandalorian's code.
Yeah.
And not regular Jedi, but now I'm like learning about the gray Jedi, which I think is like the best.
The best Jedi. Yeah. I say it every time.
Look at Travis is like, damn, you guys just went deep.
Dude, you all obviously don't watch our show.
Thank you.
We had a 45-minute rabbit hole on the Mandalorian monologues, which is the show about the Mandalorians. Just talking about canon versus gray Jedi. Well, Freddie Prinze says there is no gray Jedi, and
but there are gray Jedi.
Lucas when he was a kid, and what the fuck do you know? And dude, it was
Qui-Gon Jinn is like in canon. He is one of like supposed gray Jedi, like Qui-Gon Jinn, because the Jedi Council didn't like the way that he was doing things. He lived by a different, but he was in the Jedi Council. Dude, I'm telling you, I went down like this huge rabbit hole. And then whenever I get into a Star Wars rabbit hole, I turn to my Star Wars resident nerd, Brandon Miller. So Brandon, what have you been doing this week?
Not Star Wars stuff, actually.
Okay, fuck you.
I bought Pokemon Shield.
Oh, nice.
I have one gym left.
Nice. Now, I've heard there are 8. I've heard there are 16. I've heard there...
I think there's like 8-ish. I don't know. I don't know. I guess then I don't know if I have one left, if there might be 16. I have 7 little fragment things.
Now, how many Pokemon did you catch?
You know, I approached it. I haven't played, like, I've been playing Pokemon like an adult, if that makes sense, for a while. Like, of being like, oh, I'm going to look up what I like, what their strengths and weaknesses are, breed them a certain way, like, train them a certain way, get these movesets and stuff. When I started playing this one, first of all, I was super drunk, because it was after we had filmed something else, and we were talking about it, and I was like 3 beers deep or something, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna buy this game. And I bought it at like midnight. I just started playing it. When I hit the first when I hit the first route, I saw one of the new Pokemon, and it was like kind of the first time that in a very long time that I saw one of the new Pokemon that I was actually like kind of stoked on. Not because I thought it was cool or anything, but it was just very different and interesting. So I caught it. Never fucking used it after that. But like after doing that, I was like, you know, I'm gonna play through it once like a little kid. Like, I'm gonna catch anything that I'm just like on a whim. You know what? I'm gonna fucking catch this. I'm not gonna kill it, and just catch it and do stuff like that instead of like planning everything out so much like I usually do in these games. Now, definitely after I beat it once, I'm gonna go back and do like some weird shit probably. I kind of want to do a Nuzlocke, so that'll be more planning and stuff, especially because it's so easy to like choose which Pokemon you actually run into and stuff. It leaves some of the
yeah.
guesswork out of it. So I'm definitely going to do that, but I want like the first playthrough to kind of be like more like organic,
Just
I
having
guess.
fun, yeah.
Yeah, of like I'm not looking to be
No
like
pressure.
yeah, not being like, oh, I'm gonna Google what the next Pokemon gym is so I can, train up this certain type or whatever, make sure I'm raising this. I'm just like playing with whatever the fuck I like. If it's bad, it's bad. I don't care. Like if it's not, the most powerful ice type I could have gotten, then like it's fucking fine. Like I'm not gonna go catch that one or whatever.
Right.
Somebody fart in your studio, Travis? What's up? You got that look on his face.
Noise. I'm like, what? Was it over there? It's like I'm in a fucking trash compactor, dude. I'm like looking around. I'm good.
You guys didn't catch it the entire time. Travis. What's he doing?
Dude, that's the other thing I've been doing. I watched the entire series of Unsolved.
Oh, like
It's
who
like
farted in Travis's?
Yeah, well, it's a BuzzFeed TV show, like a BuzzFeed show that turned into a TV show, and it's two guys who go like ghost hunting or demon hunting or whatever. One guy doesn't believe at all, and the other guy like had experiences before they thought were like a ghost or something haunting him. So he's like scared shitless all the time. And they go to like, the most haunted house in America, or like, you remember that asylum in Kentucky, that like insane asylum that's super haunted. So they went there and like
Waverly Hill.
Yeah, they spent the night in one of the like things and had the whole place to themselves. And we're doing all, and one of the guys is just like, "Hey demons, it's me, your boy. Come in and take over my soul and fucking kill my friend overnight." And the other guy's like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing?" They were like in this one place and there was like a pentagram on the ground, and they're like, "Yeah, this was like satanic stuff or whatever." Like the story behind it, and the guy just like lays on it, is like doing snow. And the guy's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" He's like, "Climb into my body and murder us all. It'll be the end of the show." Because he like doesn't believe in any of it, like one bit. So it's like
Travis,
really
have
funny
you been
to
there?
like.
To Waverly Hills? Have you been there?
Several times when I was in.
Really?
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
No, you
it
froze.
was condemned and closed for years, and it's to this day still the scariest I've ever been in my entire life. I mean, I can't even tell you. It's like walking up to it because you had to go to these apartments off of Dixie Highway to kind of sneak in the back, and it's like devoid of all light. Like moonlight doesn't even shine down on this motherfucker. I mean, you can't even see your. And we would take baseball bats, right? Like, because in case somebody jumped out and got us. Well, we ended up like swinging them at each other because you would make a noise and you couldn't see anything and you just fucking swing. But
wow.
I've been
because
we
when you're
went
ghost
down to
hunting,
body shoot
baseball
actually.
bat.
We got dared, of course, by some older guys, and
naturally,
yeah, we slid down to body shoot, and
Yeah,
it was, I'll never.
they went down the body shoot in that show too.
Did he?
Like spent time in the bottom, like supposedly talk like they do this stuff where they have like these contraptions to talk to ghosts through radio waves. But the weirdest part though, it like spoiler alert for that one episode, I guess, it's not the weirdest part of the show of things they caught, but in that episode, they like brought a tennis ball because there's like some kid that plays in the halls on one of the floors, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, come out and play," and like threw the ball. You hear the ball like come to a stop basically, and then it just starts fucking bouncing again and keeps going, like picks up speed randomly and then stops.
Dude.
And then they're like, "Did you fucking hear that?" And the guy who's like a skeptic is like, "Yeah, that was like super weird because like balls don't just start going, like pick up bouncing again in a hallway." They walk down the hallway to find the ball because it doesn't come back or anything. And it's in one of the rooms in front of the dude's name. That's the host. His name is like part of the graffiti on the wall, and the ball's
What the hell,
in front of where his name was graffitied on the wall. It's like a comment, like Jake or I can't remember his name.
Right.
Okay, I know I don't like scary movies and stuff,
Ryan.
but Tech
Yeah,
is in
his
a
name
whole
is
other
Ryan.
class.
So it just stops in front of a graffiti that says Ryan. and they're just like sitting completely still in the middle, like not up against the wall, like a foot from it, just not moving at all. And you're just like, that's super fucking weird.
So when the ghost hunters went there, like they're trying to prove it's not haunted. They took a ball that was probably like this big. They set it down and they're like, okay, this is where this kid likes to play. You know, we're just going to put a camera on it. They set it down and they just left it, right? They walked away. And then when they were playing the footage back, it was rolling in circles around the circle they drew, because they're like, okay, you know, this is a big enough circle that if it rolls out, we'll know someone's playing.
Thank's about to jump out of the stream,
Fuck, dude,
man.
I hate, dude, my whole body.
This is Tank right now. Like,
Crazy, dude.
Is crawling, dude.
Unsolved is a comedy show. It's not Ghost
like,
Hunters.
relax, dude. Come on. I like when you take all these, you know, stuff and you just kind of subvert expectations and like, oh, before I came in here, I literally have it on pause on Hulu. I just signed up for Hulu again using a new account, Disney Plus, blah, blah, blah. And one of the first things that popped up for me was a movie called Colossal, I think. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Oh, Creed 2?
All I can say to you guys is go look up the trailer.
Okay.
Colossal. It's something I did not expect. It's got Anne Hathaway in it and a scary Godzilla-sized monster in Seoul, Korea.
Nice.
Yeah, that is exactly the look I was expecting. Thank you, Travis. Yeah, I was like, what?
Okay. Well, from Brandon, Travis, what have you been doing other than the Mando monologues?
Nothing, man. I don't do shit.
We know that, but I'm trying to
Don't
like
do
hype you up, dude.
Cooking some dope ass Thanksgiving for the firehouse.
Oh yeah.
Cooking
No,
some crystal
yeah,
meth.
Still doing
What?
that.
No.
Had a
No.
good day at the firehouse. My last holiday, so it was a little... That's exactly what I wanted, Nehru. Thank you. No, but I haven't been doing anything, man. I substitute teach my off days. I sub today, and it's easy day, and I come home and go to the gym and make dinner and
What kind of substitute
hang out with
teacher
you
are
guys. What's that?
What kind of substitute teacher are you? There's like some groups. There's like, we're going to watch a movie today.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here on my laptop and never look up.
Yeah.
I'm going to entertain the fuck out of all these kids. There were like levels of substitute teachers. Which one?
Wait. Let's all guess. Let's all guess.
Okay.
Tank, what kind of substitute teacher do you think
I
he
guess
is?
I need to know what grade. Like, are you middle, high? What do you?
High school.
High school. Oh, you're definitely the walk-in, brooding, like, sit down or I will snap your neck. Just because high school kids are a bunch of dicks.
No, don't give any clues, Trav. Brandon, what do you think?
I think he goes in. I think the exact opposite of Tank.
Thank you.
I think he goes in, does like, you know, says something like, "Oh, this is me," makes a funny joke about it, about his name or something. Tries to lighten the mood, and it's like, you know, I'm a cool guy. My dog is throwing up in the background.
That's what I say.
His dog is actually throwing up in the background right now.
I just heard my dog going. I was like, "Oh, what
Mine's
the fuck?"
sleeping.
Nice.
Look at this lazy son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I think he like makes a joke is like, I mean, do your work, but I'm the cool guy. This is what you got to do. But like, I'm not gonna be mad if you talk some or like pass notes. I don't think kids still
Or
do that.
pass marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Drew,
cool. The back
what do
window
you
open.
think?
I have never had a proper substitute teacher in my life, so I have nothing to reference this to. But I can say, just looking at Travis is the guy who comes in and everybody knows this guy's a big old teddy bear, man. Like, he's gonna hang out with everybody, be friendly, and they just look at him as, you know, he's one of us. Like, he's just one of us up front. Simple.
I think so. It's high school, right? So I think when he comes in, he plays the dark brooding type at first, and then he goes, "Okay, who the fuck has a cell phone right now?" And they're all like, "Oh shit, we all have our cell phones. Oh shit." He's like, "All right, everybody, pull it out. Pull up fucking Blazing Defender report. Hit play.
Hit that
I don't
follow
even care if
button.
you fucking listen to it.
Motherfucker.
I just need those fucking plays. Then you guys can do whatever the fuck you want.
Like that.
Everybody listen to my fucking show."
Just projects it on the screen in the front of the class while everybody's doing their
Right? Yeah.
This week, this is what we're talking about.
Substitute teachers write their name in chalk. He's just writing the Blazing Defender. Like, listen to my fucking show. That's all I care about.
That's actually a great idea. I have to.
So that's a great idea, but you're wrong, Jason.
I gotta say, Tank nailed it right out the go.
No way.
Yeah, man.
Dude, high school kids are dicks. You
They're
have to walk in. Like, I know he's not
And they're
like
idiots.
that. Oh, that too. But I know he's not like that. But he has to, because he has the size. He can just walk in and stare and be like, and then they're like, oh fuck, I probably should sit down.
Yeah.
Like,
That's exactly what I do. I mean, I take their cell phones from them. They ask to go to the bathroom. I say, you can piss yourself. I don't care. You ain't going nowhere. I mean, I'm the biggest.
So you take their cell phones?
Oh my God. Hell
Dude,
yeah.
why are you not putting your own show on their cell phones?
Well, no, I just said it was a great idea. I'm like rethink my policy.
Shut the fuck up.
You know?
Just want you to know, the first time they see your show, the first time they see your show was the last day you get to be a dick. Like this is just gone.
No shit. Yeah, the facade is destroyed.
Boom.
Yeah, that's
like,
for
remember
sure.
that time you talked about fucking Spider-Man?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's weird. You know, there's a certain group of kids, right? And we were all kind of probably in that group, you know, like we were nerds and, you know, we kind of hide it or whatever. And maybe we didn't. When we get around certain people, we would, you know, be like full nerd out, right? So I'm in an algebra class and like I seen these two kids and they had like anime jackets and shit like that. And I'm like, oh, you know, these kids are probably picked on and shit. I think they're cool. So I'm going to go over and see what they're looking at because they're like really into it. It was an old Blazing Defender report on YouTube.
yeah.
I shit you not. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was old because I had my beard.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and they looked at me and they were like, and I went, we didn't say nothing. It was kind of like the cool nod to each other.
That's
like, hey,
awesome.
man, you're one of us, but your secret's good with us.
Oh man, that's amazing.
That's
It was pretty
awesome.
cool, actually. It was cool, man.
That is such a movie
A
plot
for the
line.
day. Don't even turn in that quiz at the end of class.
You're
Did you get
good.
an A?
That is such a movie plot point. Like seriously.
It's so funny.
That is so cool.
All right, so let's get to a topic that those nerds are definitely gonna fucking talk about at school. Welcome to the Nerds from School, your weekly escape into the world of Travis, the Blazing Defender Report, as your substitute teacher. So the topic of the show, you guys probably read it already in the title. It's probably why you clicked this anyway. We're gonna get into what we think are the best entries into the canon. All right, guys, canon Star Wars universe as it sits today. As we're getting ready for episode 9, the end of the Skywalker saga, right?
Da-da-da.
We've got this huge story with all these little pieces that go into it. We're talking comics, we're talking movies, shows, books, anything that is canon, okay? That's all fair game.
Canon.
So that
What?
being said, does anybody want to go first that is not Travis? All right, Rue.
I want to go after Naru.
I want to go first because I think many people might want to pick mine, so I'm gonna just pick it right now.
That's what
It's obviously Rogue One. Like that is for me the best. I mean, episode 4 has a soft spot in my heart because that's the only one I'd really seen for years, and it's the one that introduced everything. But for me, after I'd seen parts of episode 1, bits of episode 2, and the original trilogy, and then everything ever since has been coming out. Rogue One, I love that story. Like it was such a reset in my mind. It was such a good story. Characters that I loved. The story was great. The world was rich, and they managed to fill certain holes that every time I watch episode 4, I'd be like, oh, yeah, just lucky you were able to do
Yeah,
this.
why is there a giant hole that leads directly to the heart of
To
this big-ass
nowhere.
station?
Like, why is just this little 2x4 exhaust port that somehow you have to shoot just right, and it goes right down into the middle of this thing that's the size of a moon. Like
Not just
seriously.
that, but can we say that Rogue One was a movie that was taken from literally 2 minutes of episode 4?
Not even.
Yes.
It was taken from the second paragraph of the opening scroll. Literally, it's just the
So,
second
yeah.
paragraph.
So that's there, and then they say something about like, oh yeah, we had a team on whatever planet
Yeah.
They're like,
that did this,
right.
and
Yeah.
and I don't know about you guys, but like I caught it now that I'm watching it again.
Mhm.
Right?
Yes.
Like you catch those things, but when I was a kid, you didn't give a shit. You're just like, whatever.
Space fights and
Right.
light swords.
And that's
give a
that's the truth, because I saw episode 1, 2, 3, and I jumped right into episode 4 again. But as I started episode 4, I kept wanting to stop and go back and see Rogue One.
I did.
Before I didn't do that. I wish I had. I
Yeah.
finished episode 4. Shit. But I wanted to do that, and that would really have just made sense. Like, this is exactly why they did this. And I love the fact that you can take that's why I said, like, that whole thing with Travis and those kids, like that little moment, you can take that moment and it extrapolates such a rich story behind
2 hour
the
movie.
little thing that could mean so much. And for me, the fact that they could, that's superior storytelling, superior filmmaking, way above the quality of everything else we've seen so far.
It definitely changed the game for Star Wars. Like it's definitely you know what Rogue One did for me? It made me pissed off at Han Solo, because like
Yeah.
like, oh, Rogue One, this is what they can do with these non-saga stories. And
Right.
I don't like totally hate Solo, but it definitely
Oh, you
wasn't
mean
to
the
the level of
Solo
Rogue
movie,
One.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like, oh, we can do these cool ass stories that aren't about Luke Skywalker.
Mhm.
Like, and then we got Solo, and I just wasn't. So
I hate Solo because it came out before they knew about Disney Plus, right? Because I totally think
Yeah.
that a Han Solo story would have
On
been
Disney Plus
awesome
would have made
as a
sense,
story.
yeah.
Solo as a series would have been.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like Han Solo's story should have definitely been a series and not a 1 hour movie that was rushed.
yeah, 2 hour.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that assessment. And also, I would say, without the pressures of budget and all that, they would have taken more time to focus on actually explaining a lot more about the guy himself, right? So we would have got a richer story. So that, yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man. That's for sure.
Like even the Solo movie, he's just on this planet. They didn't even say how he got there. He's just there. Like,
Yeah.
And who knows? They
All right,
probably
here
did.
now.
They,
I know.
right?
I know where to get a ship.
yeah,
Next planet.
next one.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, so I'll get into that on my turn. So Brandon, Naru, you're Rogue One all the
Mhm.
way.
All the way.
All right, dude. Brandon,
I didn't. I was just picking a thing. I wasn't picking like a movie or something.
hey, that's fine. That's
All
fine.
right. Mine is the most on the nose, I think, if I'm using that term correctly. Thing is Baby Yoda.
What the? Really, dude?
Yes, because
His whole
and it,
argument.
yeah, and it's not because of Baby Yoda. It's
Oh.
because It's because of like what Baby Yoda means, right? Like before Baby Yoda, Yoda and Yaddle were the only two of that whole like species that you've ever seen, and Yaddle was like a playing card. Like I think she didn't even make it in the final cut of like one of the movies. She's like in a deleted scene or something,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like
she was
in the
deleted
background
scene
or
in,
something like that.
Episode 2, 1.
She was in the Jedi Council in 2.
Yeah,
Was
she
it
was on the
2?
council in 2. She just, yeah, it was in 2.
Just a little
So,
bit. I mean,
Yeah, it's like a panning, like
yeah. She's like a
Um,
cameo of that.
No
Yeah, so
speaking
it's
role.
so
Non-speaking
it's
role.
like showing the Baby Yoda, right? Shows that like, all right, it's probably not one of their kids, or maybe it's like a reincarnation of someone else or something. I don't know. I haven't watched Mandalorian at all, so don't ruin it for me. But regardless, it just shows that like these like species that people don't know anything about are actually like out there and alive, right? Like there was like they tried to like kill all of the
Jedi.
whatever Wookiees,
Mm.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
whenever they were like hunting the Jedi and stuff, they went through and killed all the Wookiees and stuff, or they tried to. But it shows that like just like the Jedi, there were like people of these different species that did make it out and did like survive, and that is super exciting to me because like I'm tired of seeing all Star Wars movies surrounded around humans.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want to see something that's like based on a non-human character. Like the main character is a non-human character. like Jason was saying, like that sand person Jedi.
Yeah.
That would be sick. Like something like that, or even like Yoda, like a Yoda spinoff that it was rumored they could do really bad at that, and I don't think Yoda is the way to go. But something like that where it's like we don't need all humans all the time. And
And
that
with
way,
With an entire universe of characters, you don't have.
yeah,
to
there's
use
supposed to be
humans.
like
Yeah.
like millions of different like alien species in
Right.
in this universe or in this like movie realm, right? But they always the ones that are doing anything of any substance are always humans. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Which what is it, the cartoon?
Which one?
Rebels.
No,
Clone
not
Wars?
Rebels, the older
Clone
one. Yeah,
Wars.
Clone Wars.
Clone
They
Wars.
had the girl that was the alien. So like
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
that's it. Yeah, she's super good. And there's a book I read. I can't remember any of the names because I'm horrible with names. But Jason knows the book.
Yeah.
I remember the dude has like a yellow tattoo across his face. The girl was the apprentice to the guy, the fencing guy, from episode 2.
While you guys are trying to remember, something came to mind, which I think is kind of interesting. The whole idea of humans being the more or less the heroes, the saviors, the one anything interesting is happening to in this world. It kind of mimics the whole concept of, oh, even in Asian history, somehow it has to be a white guy that shows up.
Exactly. It's
kind of
basically like whitewashing. Like,
Right.
like
But the
alien,
funny
like,
part,
Human.
the funny part about that is a lot of that started with this idea that the audience, the primary paying audience, needed to have somebody they could relate to, right?
Yeah,
So they
and
paid
that's-
to see themselves in that role. But Baby Yoda proves the point because the buzz around him today proves the point that people can empathize or relate to something that's so radically different from
yeah.
who they are, right?
Yeah. Look at Lion King, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you want to go super far out, like
Timon.
it's
Yeah.
all fucking animals. like
Right.
like the world is in a place now where like I
Yeah.
can definitely see in the past where
Yeah.
that's how it would be, and that's probably how more like traditional writing is. Where
Right.
It's like, oh, this is the human. I can put myself in their shoes. But people now think very abstractly compared to what they did back then.
I mean, if this was a real universe, I mean, Yoda's creature, all aliens would be protesting human movies. You guys keep putting yourselves as the heroes and everything.
And it would kind of suck if it was all like super CGI and looks gross. But we're also getting to the age of like really great CGI too. Like
Yeah.
like Planet of the Apes. We talk about it all the time.
What do you think about the fact that out of the three creatures we've met from Yoda's planet, all three are super badass with the Force?
So
Come on, man.
I don't want to touch on that, but that kind of makes me upset too.
Well, didn't somebody like didn't
Well, Brandon
Lucas...
has
Why?
seen it. Well, because
I've seen Mandalorian.
that I'll get into that on my point. But
Okay.
Tank, do you want to go next or Travis?
Well, let's let Travis go next.
Oh,
We already know Travis's.
Jar
He has
Jar-
a fucking
Hang on,
podcast on.
hang on. I have to. I'm sorry, Travis, to cut you off. Maverick used to be a friend of the show. I used to really like when Maverick would come into the chat and talk to us. But he just said he wants to see the Jar Jar Binks story. And
Yes, that's another thing I agree with. Jar Jar
I
Binks
want
is
to see
not
that.
as bad as everybody made him out to be.
I
Y'all
want
are
to see that
dickheads.
so much.
It's fucking
I don't
terrible.
hate Jar Jar.
Yeah, whatever,
I hate
Travis.
the writing. I hate the writing of Jar Jar Binks. That's nothing to do with the
Please.
actor or the way
Yeah, give it
he
a
played
new director.
Oh,
It is.
Dude,
It's-
there's a lot of terrible writing in the prequels. That's
So-
not the reason. Why y'all singling out Jar Jars?
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, dude, Jar Jar
I'm
Binks
not gonna
like
get
full
into
story.
that one. That's
Jar
a
Jar-
whole couple worms I don't want to fuck with.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks' full story is like sad as fuck, and it's dude,
Sad?
dude, go look into it. After
He's the fucking Charlie Murphy.
he goes from being like head of the whatever his role was.
He was pretty much a senator.
Yeah,
well, in the second
and you don't
movie.
see him in episode 4 because that motherfucker gets sold back into slavery.
In episode 4?
No, before episode 4, he goes
Oh.
back and like go look it up. The movie would actually be
Episode 3
ridiculously
is
sad.
canon. What you're talking about is not canon anymore, right?
No.
It
And
depends.
I don't give a shit. Jar Jar was not as bad as everybody made him out to be to
Yeah,
me.
he's not as bad. That's what I'm saying. The movie would be a great movie, but
Now,
Yeah.
let me ask Maverick a question real quick, because I think if he's referring to the story that I think he's referring to, Are you referring to the theory that Jar Jar was a Sith Lord?
I've
What?
looked into that
What?
Have you
too.
not seen that?
I've seen that
No.
headline.
There's
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm not gonna say a lot of evidence, but there is enough out there where you go,
Huh.
damn, okay. Okay, yes, that. All right. I was just making sure. Yeah,
like
if,
how he had
if they could
Palpatine coming
make
up
that
with-
story, I would watch that story. Okay. Just making sure, Maverick. Okay.
I would want to see either him being a Sith Lord, like coming up as a Sith Lord, or like a very sad movie of like the downfall of Jar Jar Binks, and just cry my fucking eyes out for
Just
like.
make it a tragedy.
Yeah, it's
Well,
sad.
I mean, we
Go
already
look-
have
go look up
westerns, right? Why can't we have a drama? So
Yeah,
Travis,
go
why don't you
ahead
tell us
around
about
that.
your western?
That's not even what I was going to say, Jason, but I guess I got to now because I don't know what you looked at.
You're wearing the hat. You called it out in chat earlier.
I did. No, I did. I love the Mandalorian. I think I can't believe it's low hanging fruit though, man. Is it not? Like everybody's going to say Mandalorian. I mean, because it's
I didn't.
fantastic.
I mean, I said maybe
Now
yeah,
we got
Mandalorian.
new characters in Chapter 4. I mean, I would love
Shock
to.
Trooper?
I would love to
That's
see
dope.
Gina Carano have a show now. Like,
Of course
talking
you
about her
would.
fall from being a shock trooper. I would love to see that.
Yo,
Naturally.
now, when they introduce her, I'm like, please just stay in the show forever. Like,
Yeah.
I want to learn so much about this character now.
Yes.
She's
Right. It's of course it's the character y'all want to learn about. Sure it is.
Yeah. Hey, it don't hurt. She's easy on the eyes too. It doesn't hurt at all. Trust me.
Badass. Like,
But no, everything is canon since Disney bought the rights, right?
Right.
Everything previous, they're calling it Legends or whatever. So the
Right.
comic books, which is kind of my realm, they're all canon.
ooh.
The Darth Vader comic has been
Yes.
one of the greatest for people that love Vader, and they all talk
Yeah,
about the end of Rogue One, which is fantastic, where Vader just goes on a fucking rampage.
That is
It's
comic
amazing.
book. That is comic book Vader in live action.
Exactly, and that's what I
Yes.
tell people. I'm like, man, if you liked that scene, I've got almost 50 issues of comic that you're going to fucking love.
You know, I
Vader
might
is
start
so
reading
bad.
comics just to read Star Wars comic books.
You should.
Not just the Darth Vader comics are good though.
Right.
Like,
all of
I've
them
read a
are
lot of
really-
their
are
comics,
really well.
and they are good.
Yeah, Dr. Offer was good. The Star Wars main book when Jason Aaron was writing it was really, really good.
They did a Han Solo one, which
Yeah, the
went
solo,
in
the
depth
Princess
about-
Leia one actually didn't suck. It was one of the weaker ones, but it wouldn't suck. But
Han Solo, they went in depth about him being in the academy and learning how to fly, and that's why he's an ace pilot. And then he's like, they went in depth in that though.
Poe's book was good too. You get a lot of
Poe's
backstory on
awesome.
Poe, maybe more than anybody else in the newer movies through the comics. But there was a Jedi introduced in the Vader comic in the second volume. His name was Carrick Infala. And he was he self-imposed exile on himself and went away he was going to live inside the Force until the Force showed him his true path. So Vader, who this is after Order 66, he's hunting down Palpatine's the one that actually finds Carrick and tells Vader, "You go get him and bring me back his lightsaber." Well, it's his ass handed to him.
Nice.
And the more you learn about Carrick, like in the Jedi Order, he didn't even, the only there was to fight things. They even say that. Like he didn't do negotiations, he didn't do this, he didn't meditate, he fought things. And he talks shit to Vader while he's tearing him apart.
Damn.
And the
Yo,
only way
I've got to look this up.
Yeah.
the only
Yeah,
way
man. Absolutely.
the only way he beats Vader is he pulls a Batman move and he cheats. And
Hell yeah.
Infala had to save a bunch of innocent bystanders that Vader had put in danger.
Mhm.
And then when he did, Vader used the opportunity and killed him.
Damn.
But it was such a fucking a cool like Ronin type of like a samurai,
Yeah.
like a master samurai, like this Infala was. I would love to find out more in his exploits when he was a Jedi Master. But that was one of my when you were telling me the talking points for tonight, I was like, oh fuck, it's got to be Carrick. Like I love this guy. I'd love to see more of him. But so that's mine.
That's dope.
All right, Tank. What about you?
So mine is actually The Force Awakens, and it's not because it's like the best story, because it's a lot of episode 4 vibes.
Star Wars,
Yeah, it's a lot of episode.
Yeah.
So
reskin Star Wars.
yeah, so it's for a lot of the same reasons that like Jason likes J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. So I grew up on the old Star Trek movies, and so I love. So I've seen every movie. I've seen Voyager. I've seen Next Generation. Like I've seen a bunch of but I've seen the older movies, but they never had as big an impact on me. So The Force Awakens was the first Star Wars movie that I like truly got excited for when it was coming out, because it was something new and it was fresh and I really feel like looking back now they kind of learned at least some lessons from the prequels. They're like, okay, they like CGI, but they don't want Yoda to be like doing triple backflips, in the middle of a fight. So
Right.
it's like they kind of like, okay, they like this, they don't like this. Let's kind of put all the pieces together, and then they kind of. I mean, you can say what you want about the story, but when you're sitting in the theater for the first time and Kylo Ren stops that bolt in the middle of the air, in the first like minute and a half of the movie, you're like, holy shit, I am in for a fucking ride.
Well, also, you see Finn, and he takes his hand and he runs it down the stormtrooper helmet, and there's blood on the helmet.
Yeah.
Now, newer Star Wars, the stormtroopers are all kind of like fucked up. Back in 4, 5, and 6, they were always like pristine armor. But now, 7, 8, 9, The Mandalorian Chronicles, like Solo, like when you see a stormtrooper, they're kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I mean, I think even in I think in the prequels, there's a scene where you can see the stormtroopers showing up and they're all muddied and everything. Anyway,
And what?
To a lesser extent, though, for the most part, clone troopers were pretty clean. Like they were that's kind of like their whole shtick, right? So, oh wow, you can see that. Okay. Sorry,
So 7 is yours, or I'm sorry, yeah,
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. It just
The Force Awakens.
For
TFA.
me, yeah, it really reinvigorated the series. It got me excited.
Vanilla
to watch
Star Wars.
And because I wasn't such a die-hard Episode 4 fanatic, I was okay with seeing some of those same beats.
So Brandon and I went to see Episode 7 when it came out that weekend.
IMAX, baby.
Nice.
So we went, we saw it, and we both walked out of the theater, and we looked at each other. Now, Brandon and I are both movie buffs for different reasons. I like to look at the story. Brandon likes to look at the angles and, the cinematography, right? We both said we feel like we got a full experience from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we could say we got a full experience from a movie in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. Is it the best movie? No. Is it the greatest writing? No. But it's a full package movie.
Yeah.
Like, you can't watch Episode 7 and go, oh, that was shitty, I hate it.
Right.
It's a
People
full
do.
package.
Episode 7 is a really good Marvel Star Wars movie. It's a paint by numbers. We did it right.
Disney
Nailed it.
Star Wars movie.
Yeah. We got new characters that we actually care about. We got.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like fucking like Poe and Finn.
Dude,
My
Poe
dog
is
is named after Finn.
Okay, I care about Pope. I'm beginning to not care about Finn because the direction
I
they're
love
taking him now,
BB-8.
I want to slap his
That's
ass.
true. Finn,
He's the worst. Finn is the worst.
He is the biggest
Any
waste of
franchise ever.
he's the biggest waste of potential. Like
Yes.
this dude
So,
walked away from being a
look-
friggin' clone.
Look at Episode 7 though. In Episode 7, it is not.
He was great
so
in
bad.
Episode 7.
It is
He was
not-
he was okay in
I will
Episode
agree.
7.
They kind of fucked his
Yeah.
character in 8.
So I'm saying I
Oh,
named
killed
my
it.
dog after Finn
Sideways.
after Episode 7.
Yeah.
After
So-
Episode 7.
twice.
Brandon.
Sorry.
I've
Blame
had a
Ryan
dog
Johnson.
for a
I
long-
do. I mean, that's who I blame.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I like. I mean, Episode 7 was just a fantastic reimagining of what Star Wars can be with today's technologies, with today's money, and
In Disney.
well, that's the Disney money. Like they
Yeah.
they sprinkled the Disney sauce on it, and
So
I feel like Episode 8 just shat over 7 and just it reflects on 7 for
see,
me.
I
Like
don't know if I've seen 8 since I saw it in theaters, so
So
Right.
to
I need to
to
rewatch it.
me, my favorite thing about canon Star Wars is
Now you got
I
too much
take
to
it
say.
from a lot of different things, right?
No.
Like Rogue One. I love Rogue One, but the things I like about Rogue One are the same things that I like about The Mandalorian. The things I like about The Mandalorian are the same things that I liked about Solo, are the same things that I liked about Episode 7. It's the characters with no fucking force.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting characters that have no fucking force abilities, and they're showing, like, hey, they can actually do this. Like,
Yeah.
I think one of the most moving moments in Star Wars canon I just watched tonight, because I just caught up on The Mandalorian Episode 4. I loved it so much when they showed the rice farm. Right? Like, when they have that farm at the very beginning.
Is that a rice farm?
For episode 4. And they're farmers. And there's no Jedi. There's no fucking anything. It's like little aliens and humans farming. There's no war. But then, of course, they get attacked by an AT-AT, whatever. But when they show that and you can see the life outside of this fucking Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. The Mandalorian has no force abilities. He knows they exist, but he doesn't have fucking force.
Hell, even when he sees it, he's like, what is that?
Yeah. He's like, okay. And that's what I hate is that we got the baby Yoda, right? But then he had to have the fucking force too. Like,
but
can't we have a Yoda that doesn't have the fucking force?
Didn't George Lucas say that his species, the entire species, is force sensitive?
I don't know.
I think I read that.
I've never read that.
So that's
I'm not sure.
People, because I mean, you see, that is what I saw on the internet, and you can believe everything you read on the internet.
Right.
Sure. Absolutely.
So their entire speed, which would lend credence to Baby Yoda having force powers.
That's why I hate.
Yeah.
That is because it feels like everything has to be about the force, but if the force is a very minuscule thing, right? Like, not everyone is the force. That's why when Travis said the shock trooper, right, that you get introduced to in chapter 4 of The Mandalorian, I was like, yes, I feel like that is awesome because she has a story that when it all fell, she was a shock trooper and she was like, fuck this, I'm out. Like, she went to the most remote planet she could find because it was all fucked up. And it's like...
And she tells him, this planet is booked, leave.
What's up?
She tells the Mandalorian, yo, this planet is booked, it's taken.
Town ain't big enough for the boat.
This planet ain't big enough for both of us, leave. I'm like, this planet can't handle this planet cannot handle the action anymore. It can't handle the action both of us are going to bring to it. Leave.
Can't live here anymore. You guys need to move.
I'll get caught up tomorrow morning for sure.
But Brandon, you've got to get on it, dude. The Mandalorian is good. But
I'll find a way one day.
You have Verizon.
I'm on a family.
So the thing I love about Star Wars canon is that characters that don't have the Force are getting recognition more now than they were in 1 through 6, right? Like, then it was about Luke and Obi-Wan and Yoda, and it's like, oh, now we have a whole Jedi fucking council, and that didn't really intrigue me at all. What does intrigue me is Poe Dameron. Like, when he learns his lesson, it was the beginning of episode 8, where he learns that life lesson about no, we're gonna do this, and then he loses everyone, and he's like, that's fucking post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
That's learning how to cope with a fucked up situation that you fucking took control of.
You call
That scene alone blew my fucking mind, and I loved it so much because he doesn't have the Force. He doesn't have all this shit. He's just a normal person. That's what I love about Star Wars is taking normal characters, right? Human or not human, Brandon. I don't care if they do or don't have a Force. No, but I'm saying if we got a character that wasn't human with no Force, I'd love that.
Just the Sand People, just them being badasses, robbing people, coming by. That'd be tight. Tell us
stories about this universe that don't include Jedi. Like, tell us the other stories.
See,
you know what I mean?
I'm the exact opposite, and part of it's because I'm such a fantasy fanatic that, like, to me, what sets Star Wars apart from Firefly and from other space movies and shows is the Force. That's the whole fucking point of Star Wars. Is you have these knights with light swords and magic powers going around wrecking shit. So I appreciate those other characters for what they are, but that's Star Wars. It's the Force.
But let's take Rogue One, right? It's great. We have Donnie Yen, who is Force sensitive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are people with the Force, and people without the Force have to learn how to take over people with the Force. You see what I'm saying? Like, the hero doesn't have to have the fucking Force.
But, like,
the hero can be normal, and the villain can have the Force. Or someone could have it, and it exists, and they all go by it, but the hero doesn't always have to have it.
But that's, to me, again, for me, the whole, like, I love Firefly. It's one of the best fucking shows ever created, and there's no magic powers in it. Like, it's freaking...
There's barely sci-fi in it.
It's a Western that just happens to be in space.
Yeah.
It's a Western that just happens to be in space. I fucking love Firefly. But Star Wars... What's up?
A Western in space? You mean Cowboy Bebop?
Cowboy Bebop, yeah. So, you know, but, like, Star Wars has the Force. Like, it's like the whole...
Listen,
thing that
the
makes
thing I like about Star Wars personally is it has everything. It's fantasy, it's magical, it's sci-fi, it's got space epics,
Western.
It's got opera, it's got westerns to it, everything. And they mix all of that pretty okay at the beginning. But I do see where Jason's coming from in that when you make the Force basically the answer to everything, and you try to solve every problem with the Force, or everybody who solves the problem, who's the hero, has to do it using the Force, it gets old after a while because you can do a lot more with the stories. Yes, Tank, it does get old.
keep going.
But,
keep going down the list.
But
look at Luke Skywalker. No one wants to fucking see him now.
Well, that's because of Ryan Johnson. But you can do a lot more. You can do a lot more. You can do a lot more with these same elements, as we've seen done time and again. And I think that's one of the things I'm curious to see what they're going to do in The Mandalorian. I'm not angry that I saw the Force. I'd be disappointed if I didn't see a little bit of the Force, because it's supposed to be in everybody and everywhere thanks to the midichlorians. But if you bring in,
can we not?
Dude, it's in there.
Like,
Deal with it.
Why explain?
It's in there.
Magic?
Deal with it.
Don't explain magic. It's dumb.
Why? Because Thor does it all the time in Marvel.
Well, they're not explaining it though. That's just it. The Mandalorian doesn't even know what he's seen.
No, he's talking about the prequels, the idea of the midichlorians.
Midichlorians or whatever. I don't know.
Oh,
Me,
I'm sorry.
Trying to apply science to the Force, to me, it just felt, for lack of better terms, forced. It was just like, it literally was like,
nice one, yeah.
But what I think, what Jay and Jason are both saying, that's the reason The Mandalorian is such a hit. But this is the kind of stories that I think a lot of Star Wars fans have been wanting.
Yeah,
I'm a Jedi guy. I like Jedis. I like that shit.
Yeah.
But I love this Mandalorian. It's a sci-fi Western with a lone wolf and cub feel to it. To me, if they give that little baby in his carriage weapons on it, I'm gonna shit my pants.
I'm kind of pissed that he's not in the carriage right now. Like, I love that carriage.
I do too.
The carriage was super cool.
But that's why this is so popular, is because this is what fans have been wanting. New characters. We're getting this Mandalorian code that a lot of people don't know about yet. There's so much story to tell. I mean, this is what we've been wanting.
I think
that's why it's doing so well.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
From this like conversation, like I definitely see both sides. Because like Jason's saying, I do get tired of like rinse and repeat type thing. Like I'm always sick of the main character like wearing red, being a sword wielding person, like that. Like you never have the archer as the main character and stuff like that. Like it's stuff like that that's like very annoying to me. So I can see why it's like, oh yeah, the Jedi is always the main character that always has to be doing. What I would love to see, I don't necessarily like pin it on the Force though. I pin it. My frustration is more towards like Jedi, I guess. I would love to see someone like a gunslinger who can use the Force just out here fucking people up, like stopping laser beams, rerouting them into other people, blasting this guy, like not using a lightsaber at all. Like can use the Force.
Wow. So like gun
did you
kata.
watch Rebels
Watch
at all?
Rebels.
I didn't watch Rebels.
So
Yeah.
I hate the
when you
animation.
get
Like
Disney Plus,
gun kata,
I
but
can't
with,
get past like the visuals.
it's like gun kata, but with the Force.
because it's a lot like Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It started off as a kid show. Kanan is like
Yeah, he uses both.
one of
Doesn't
my
he?
favorite Jedi,
Yeah.
but he gave up
uses
his
both.
lightsaber,
Oh, okay.
and then he became a gunslinger that still had the Force.
Yeah.
Right.
So like
he was,
I would.
yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah. So like I would like to still see that as like a main character of one of these spin-off movies or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
So my last point to this point is I see where you guys are coming from, and I want to see I don't want to see a goody two shoes Jedi anymore. Luke, Rey, even Anakin at the very beginning, they're these like I live by the Force. Whereas like from my understanding, Mace Windu could tap into the dark side a little bit, and we didn't get to see any of that shit. The gray Jedis, those are the kinds of things that you still get this super dope, fantastical point of view, but you don't get this goody two shoes Jedi that is the one using it. So that's to me kind of like the best of both worlds, or like the gunslinger aspect. That's the best of both worlds. You still get this super dope light sword, with magic powers. But it's not the like, oh, it has to be a green or blue lightsaber, and I don't do anything wrong except kiss my sister. So
I don't want a main hero. I want another Rogue One.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want another.
You
Hey,
don't-
we don't have the Force. Fuck it.
you don't
Like,
think that part of the appeal to that is because it's the only one like it?
No, because I think we can do more of it. Because think about it. If all the movies we watched, right? Like let's say every war movie you ever watched was a sniper. Every single one is a sniper. You know there are other people out there, but
Right.
only the snipers are the only movies you watch. That sniper gets boring as fuck to watch. Like, oh yeah, he did it. That's great.
I gotta say that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
You know the other people are out there. In Rogue One, there were Jedi, right? They knew that there were Jedi, but it's like, hey, we have to do this mission, and Darth Vader's out there, but we can't let that stop us because we have to do this. And then they all died, which I thought was fucking fantastic.
They had to.
And
Spoiler alert.
whatever.
Spoiler
I told my wife this.
From
She's like,
4
"Dude,"
years ago,
she's like,
5
"Don't
years
ruin
ago.
the movie." I was
Spoiler
like,
alert.
okay, episode 4, like it's been out for 40 years.
And
That's your fucking fault.
They never mention any of these characters ever, so there's no way
No,
any of them can
no.
survive.
I know, but I was saying like if you haven't seen Rogue One by now and you're listening to this show, your priorities are fucked.
Yeah.
So, but they knew there had to be a job done. There were Jedi out. Well, there were Sith Lords out.
Yeah, by Sith Lords.
So, but that didn't stop them. I want to know, like, okay, we have, you can take the battles from 7 and 8 and say, okay, here's where the Jedi were fighting, but we're going to tell this story over here.
Sure.
Lion King 2.5, or is it 1.5?
1.5.
I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh yeah, this is what's happening here, but this was another battle that was just as important.
I like
Yeah.
those better as TV shows to me. Like The Mandalorian is awesome because you get this super dope story that's completely outside of what's going on in like the main thoroughfare.
Like, Han
People
Solo
would have.
was-
I'm so glad Rogue One
Yeah.
came out before Disney Plus was announced, because they would have said, "Yeah, let's make that a show on Disney Plus."
No.
Yeah,
We
like
never
Brandon
have
said.
seen
I know
Rogue
they
One
would
as a
have.
big movie.
But okay, imagine this, right? We're all movie buffs here. Saving Private Ryan, but with fucking like rebels and stormtroopers. Like a Saving Private Ryan level movie, right? Like you have those kind of bonds with people who have no fucking force. You have fucking AT-ATs walking in the back and shit. Like that
Again.
would be a fucking awesome movie.
But you can't. But then I leave those to a Star Wars story, not
No,
Star
yeah.
Wars.
I'm not saying that it needs to be a mainline. I'm saying we
Right.
need more movies. They're still canon.
Sure.
The world
We
is
need
too
more.
big for us to just focus on the Skywalkers, dude.
Yeah, dude, I'm not focusing on the Skywalkers.
Again, like I
hear
said, I want to see some great Jedi shit. I want to see Mace Windu tap into the
I don't
dark
wanna see any
side,
more
see
Jedi
the
shit.
future, and start like dancing.
All right. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, this is probably the greatest debate we'll have of 2020. So if you guys want to let us know what you think is the best canon for Star Wars, don't even try and flex your biceps, Travis. Don't even try. If you guys want to let us know, you guys can hit us up. TheNerdsFromWork at Gmail. You can go. What are you doing? What is that? Petunia dancing on your arm? Pete and Pete.
Oh, Naru's flexing on me now. What the hell?
No, Naru's not flexing. His shirt's just moving. So, hey, guys, you can follow us at TheNerdsFromWork.com. Naru keeps that up to date with all of our stuff. Send us an email. Our emails are there. Our social media is there. Get in the conversation. Seriously, it's not that hard. Just send us an email. Or join us live each week like Maverick does. What is going on, Tank? You have this shit-eating grin on your
Yeah,
face.
when you're talking about that, Maverick's like, I already spoke my truth.
Hey, your truth doesn't matter. Welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway? But hey, guys, any last rounds? Tank.
No, I mean, I'm excited for the new one. I already have my tickets. I'm going to see it Saturday morning, so.
Nice. All right, Rue, do you have any saved last rounds?
Got my tickets as well. I want to see that. I will say that I think besides the Mandalorian, I'm looking. What's that other Star Wars thing that they're working on? I forget
Obi-Wan?
The Obi-Wan. I watching the prequels. I never understood why people were such big fans of Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan until I saw the prequels, and it was eerie.
That's
Like
why.
it is amazing.
I say I'm done with
how
Jedi.
good he is.
Hey, Jay, I think we kind of got that.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to say it. We got it.
Hey, dude, I'm fresh to this. Like, I'm like, whoa, this is an amazing performance. Like watching him and then watching Alec Guinness, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is Oscar-winning shit right there. This is good.
You were like
But
a
hey.
brother to me.
All right, tell them where to find you guys.
Yeah, you guys can find me all over the internet at The Caped Critic. Keep an eye, we got some cool stuff coming at the beginning of next year, so keep...
Literally like 3 weeks away.
Yeah, it's going to be dope.
I know Naru's been dying for it. Naru, tell them where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter and the gram at Naru, the Nerd Guru. Please don't try to catch me anywhere else because we will probably not acknowledge your presence.
Travis, tell them where to find you, buddy.
Blazing Defender Report anywhere, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you follow the Facebook feed, you'll find out when I'm live on Twitch. If you go to my Twitch channel, hit that notification button, you'll get a notification every time I go live. Right now, I am doing the Mandalorian monologues. It's just a discussion show of each episode. It's pretty cool, but I normally do a comic book centric podcast once a week, where I talk about the comic books from the week, what's coming up, what I like, what goes in my pull list, and what goes the fuck out. So if you like comic books, man, it might be your jam, so check it out.
Hey, comic books are our jam. And that's how we found him, and that's how we got him. Hook, line, sinker. You guys can find me at Houdini0333 on Instagram and the old tweet machine. Brandon, tell them where to find you.
You can find me in a galaxy far, far away on findyourforces.com at dmiller425, where all the people who are force sensitive go to
Find your
play
forces.
lightsabers.
Dude, is it a whole bunch of like...
No, I don't know what it is.
I have no idea. I just Googled the
Say
name.
that again.
Okay,
I'm trying to Google. Say, what's it called again?
Find your forces.
Yeah, it's legit. I just pulled it up. Oh my god! And look at the little thing.
Dude, nice.
You're gonna hate it, Jason. They're Jedi. Don't go, Jay. You'll hate it.
So,
Down to earth
so
people
Tank doing like
building
this?
out of this world relationships.
hey, we're both going to be Jedi, okay? It's like the most manly thing you can do, okay?
Sure.
The most masculine thing on earth, because only dudes can do it.
Your Schwartz is bigger than mine.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it when my shorts gets twisted.
The happy
it.
stories here
That
are
should have
weird
been my
as
entry
hell.
to this. Is fucking Spaceballs. Screw Star Wars.
All right, guys. Hey, You can find all of us on Twitter and Instagram at Nerds from Work. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and where else can I find it? YouTube? Yeah, sure. Why not? If you watch the video
YouTube,
at
yep.
The Nerds from Work. So, hey, from all of us here at the workplace,
Peace.
peace.